Buddy Rogers, born Herman Gustav Rohde Jr., February 20th, 1921 to June 26, 1992, better known by the ring name, Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers, was an American professional wrestler who was one of the biggest professional wrestling stars in the beginning of the television era. His performances influenced future professional wrestlers, including Nature Boy, Ric Flair, who used Rogers' nickname, as well as his look, attitude, and finishing hold, the figure four leg lock. He was also known for his rivalry with Lou Thesz, both in and out of the ring. Early life. Rogers was the son of Herman Gustav Rohde Jr. and Lou Thesz, both German immigrants. He was athletic and took up wrestling at age 9 at the local YMCA, joining the Camden YMCA Wrestling League and winning its heavyweight championship. He served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Rogers also excelled in football, boxing, track and swimming, winning the YMCA's 3-mile swimming championship in 1937. Rogers joined the Dale Brothers Circus as a wrestler at age 17. He later worked at a shipyard and became a police officer. Personal life. Rogers married Ruth Debbie Nixon in 1969 and subsequently adopted her son, David Buddy Rogers, as his own. When Rogers retired from wrestling, he took a job as a manager at a Playboy Club casino. He resided in Haddonfield, New Jersey, until he moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in 1987. Professional wrestling career. Early career and rise in professional wrestling, 1939 to 1963. Buddy Rogers, born Herman Rohde Jr., began his wrestling career on July 4, 1939, after visiting promoters Ray and Frank Hanley. Wrestling locally as Dutch Road, Rogers quickly rose to prominence, securing a significant victory over Ed Strangler Lewis. Transitioning to Houston, he adopted the name Buddy Rogers and began building a legacy, winning the NWA Texas Heavyweight Championship 4 times. His feud with Lou Thesz, sparked during this period, became one of wrestling's most enduring rivalries. In Columbus, Ohio, Rogers bleached his hair and earned the nickname Natural Guy, which soon evolved into the iconic Nature Boy. His flamboyant look and brash personality captivated audiences, especially as television expanded wrestling's reach. Paired briefly with Lillian Ellison, later known as the Fabulous Moolah, Rogers demonstrated his ability to command attention both in and out of the ring. Rogers became a major draw in St. Louis, spearheading promoter Sam Muchnick's opposition to Lou Thesz. This rivalry led to the merger of 2 competing promotions, solidifying Rogers' dominance in the Midwest. Selling out 11,000-seat arenas in Chicago was a common feat for Rogers, whose influence extended to the Capitol Wrestling Corporation, CWC, the precursor to WWE. NWA World Heavyweight Champion, 1961 to 1963. Rogers' crowning achievement came on June 30th, 1961, when he defeated Pat O'Connor to claim the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The match, held at Comiskey Park, was billed as the match of the century and drew a record-breaking crowd of 38,622, generating $148,000 in ticket sales, a record that stood for nearly 2 decades. The 2 out of 3 falls contest saw Rogers secure victory after O'Connor missed a dropkick and was pinned. As champion, Rogers was a polarizing figure, accused by some promoters of favoring northeastern territories. This tension led to conflicts with wrestlers such as Bill Miller and Carl Gotch, who once confronted Rogers in Columbus, breaking his hand. Further injuries, including one sustained in Montreal against Killer Kowalski, sidelined Rogers temporarily. By January 24, 1963, the NWA decided to transfer the title back to Lou Thesz, who had long-standing animosity toward Rogers. The match was formatted as a 1-fall contest to ensure Rogers' compliance. Thesz emerged victorious, ending Rogers' controversial reign. WWWF World Heavyweight Champion and Semi-Retirement, 1963 to 1969. Following his loss to Thesz, Northeast promoters Vincent J. McMahon and Toots Mondt withdrew from the NWA, forming the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWWF, now WWE. They recognized Rogers as the inaugural WWWF World Heavyweight Champion on April 11, 1963, claiming he had won a fictional tournament in Rio de Janeiro. Rogers' time as champion was cut short by a mild heart attack, which drastically affected his in-ring performance. In an emergency title change, Rogers lost to Bruno Sammartino in a famously brief 48-second match on May 17, 1963, at Madison Square Garden. This decisive loss marked the end of Rogers' full-time wrestling career, although he continued to participate in occasional matches and tag team bouts, often alongside Johnny Barend. Despite his declining health, Rogers maintained his status as a major draw. However, by 1969, persistent health issues forced him into semi-retirement, leading to sporadic appearances and brief stints in the ring. Later career and legacy, 1978 to 1992. In 1979, Rogers made an unexpected return to wrestling in Florida, despite being in his late 50s. Transitioning to a managerial role, he worked with Jim Crockett Promotions in the Carolinas, overseeing stars like Jimmy Snuka, Ken Patera, and Big John Studd. A highlight of this period was his feud with Ric Flair, the new Nature Boy, culminating in Rogers putting Flair over in 1978. Rogers eventually returned to the WWF, where he became a beloved figure. Hosting the interview segment, Rogers' Corner, he played a pivotal role in turning Jimmy Snuka into a fan favorite. Although his in-ring activity was limited due to a hip injury, Rogers remained a fixture in wrestling until the early 1980s. In the years that followed, Rogers made sporadic appearances, including a planned comeback match against Buddy Landel in 1992. However, the event was canceled when the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance folded. Impact and enduring influence. Buddy Rogers' career is defined by his charisma, athleticism, and innovation. As the original Nature Boy, he set the standard for flamboyant, larger-than-life wrestling personas. His figure-4 leglock, brash promos, and command of the spotlight influenced countless wrestlers, including Ric Flair, who adopted Rogers' moniker and signature style. From his groundbreaking NWA World Heavyweight Championship reign to his pivotal role in the creation of the WWWF, Rogers left an indelible mark on professional wrestling. His legacy endures as a pioneer of the sport, bridging the gap between its territorial roots and the global spectacle it has become. Death. In early 1992, Rogers' health deteriorated. He had a broken arm and suffered 3 strokes, 2 of them occurring on the same day. At his own request, he was not placed on life support and died on June 26, 1992, at the age of 71. Other reports suggest that his death was as the result of a heart attack. He had previously suffered a fall at a supermarket and subsequently underwent heart bypass surgery.